Hello everybody, Salmon here. Let me start the video off by saying that I'm sorry for the huge absence I've had since my last video. As soon as this album came out, I was like super hyped and made like a bunch of beats, but due to personal reasons and university, I just couldn't get to editing, recording and uploading them. But now I'm a bit more focused and I'm hoping that these next couple weeks we'll have a couple of banger videos coming out. So yeah, stay tuned and let's just get right to it. As the title says, today I'm going to be showing off a Carti type beat inspired by the new album. This is going to show off the more melodic beats like I See You Baby Boy and Opium Baby. So like those plucky, spammy, melodic beats, kind of also similar to what Ken Carson does on The Great Chaos. So yeah, without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm gonna be breaking this video down into three main sections. First, I'm gonna dissect the intro and how to get those anthemic sounds kind of inspired by Crush and I don't know, a bit like Wheezy. So you can get those anthemic brasses and swerving leads. Then I'm gonna move on to the plugs in the main melody, and then I'm gonna break down the drums. So let me start with the intro. The first thing I did is started off with this brass. Let's just hear that real quick. Really not that much to explain here, just a simple pattern to start the beat off. Lots of energy, feeling very anthemic. I stacked some different octaves to give it a really full sound. But yeah, there's not that much to explain, just kind of setting the mood for the beat. Moving on, we got this pad, setting the chord progression. This is like a really textured kind of glitchy pad that I found in Hive. A more common pad could also work. I just chose this one because for the later sections that glitchiness kind of adds to the atmosphere. But yeah, I just built a simple chord progression and layered it a lot along the octaves with different voicings so we could get a really full sound again, which adds to the anthemic feel. And here's how that sounds. Then we got the bass for the intro, obviously following the root notes. Carti for his intros usually uses lots of sub basses. This one's maybe a bit more overblown than what you'd usually see in one of these beats, like a bit more intense. I like it a lot, but yeah, maybe usually you'd use something a bit more subtle. But yeah, just grab a sub bass, just follow the chord progression, add maybe a couple extra notes for a little bit of flavor, and you'll be alright. Here's how this sounds. On top of that, I added a high-pitched glidey lead, inspired by Crush, just swerving really high octave, so it like floats on top of all the other elements. Again, adding to that anthemic vibe. You can just feel like it sounds glorious. Let's just hear it. So now we have all our intro elements. Let's just hear that all together. Now, moving on to our main section, the melody for the verses. The pad remains just like it was in the intro, so we still got that glitchy pad there. Let's give it a listen again. But on top of that, we're stacking like 3 different arps and plugs to give it just like a lot of ear candy. Yeah, so we wanted to sound really fast, really dispersed. We want a lot of sounds at the same time, giving it like a kind of glitchy vibe. I think I started off with this arp, maybe. Let's listen to that. So as you can see, just following the chords, and played it on a hive arp, which kind of does the job for me in terms of placing the notes. On top of that, we got this right here. Again, it's following the chord progression. It's just a simple synth, nothing too weird. I think it's a saw. I think the most interesting thing I got to show here is the transgate I added on top of it. For those who don't know, transgate is an effect that modulates volume over time, and it's basically intended to quickly turn a sound on and off to give it like a type of effect, similar to what you could find on Futsal Shuffle by Lil Uzi. So let's hear it without the transgate. And with it. And then after that, the last element I added was this pluck on top. This again, it started off, to start off making this pluck, I inserted the chord progression, but then I worked in some extra notes to give it a little bit more flavor, and this is how it sounds. So let's hear the whole main melody together. Again, this section I feel like also has a lot in common with Ken Carson's sound that he had on A Great Chaos, especially songs like Singapore, for example, with these plucks and arps. I feel like Carti on songs like I See You Baby Boy especially took that sound, picked it up and just ran with it, took it in his own direction. Anyways, here's what we got. Wait, let me turn my tag off. Here's what we got as far as the main melody goes for the verses. Later on, as the beat progresses, I bring the brass and the lead back in to add some more variety and some more focused melodies on top of these plucks, which are all over the place, to give it a bit of progression. So let's hear, for example, the brass. And here with all the melodic elements together. And finally, we have the drums. Let's listen up. So for the most, it's pretty basic. There's just a little bit of mixing on the 808 that I want to go over. But for the rest, we have basic clap. For the hi-hats, we have some basic one-step hi-hats, like some little 88. No, but it's not all one step, like we're leaving a couple spaces in between, but no rolls or anything, just like constant. Let's hear that. Then we got a kick, which is kind of weird in this day and age to still use a kick on your rage beats, but I felt like this 808 really needed a bit more punch, so I added a kick. Here's how that's sounding. The kick isn't in sync with the 808 though, like they're not playing on the same spots, so that gives it a bit more bounce. Like when the 808 comes in without the kick, is a little bit of a softer punch, and then when the kick comes in, it's like a harder punch but less sustain in the 808, so that gives a bit more room to play around with the bounce. Finally, we have the 808, which I think is the most interesting part of the drums, which is the only reason I made this section of the video. Listen up. So that's a CTM. For anybody that's been producing for a while, you probably already know this 808, it's very common. The thing with it is, it has like a very unique kind of texture, which I really like, but it's usually not that potent. Like it's a very quiet 808, like subtle, I don't know, I kind of associate it with more ambient beats. So what I had to do to get it to the point where I could use it for like this a bit more in-your-face sound, here I used a bit of Fruity Fast Distortion. This is the compressor preset, and Fruity Limiter. I think I have this on the max loudness preset, which is boost the loudness. I think it compressed and limited a bit. Put the mix down because I didn't want to absolutely destroy everything. And then going into the master, I have a bunch of EQs. I didn't even remember them being that many. But yeah, just played around a lot with the frequencies, all going into a soft clipper. Again, fruity limiter. I think this fruity limiter is on the same setting where it's max loudness, so it goes above 0 dB, so the fruity soft clipper is working. Transient shaping to get the beat really kicking like I wanted it to, being snappy enough. And yeah, we have a more basic EQ, which is just cutting the really high highs and low lows. And here I'm cutting a bit of the mids. This is a really typical shape for rage beats and also for EDM. You kind of want the frequencies of your beat to go along with this curve, which means it's going to be hitting those rattly hi-hats, those hard-hitting 808s, without having the melody to present. So either adjust your elements accordingly or work it in post-processing by adding this EQ on the master. After all that is done, we've got the full beat. So thank everyone for watching. I'm gonna be uploading more. Got a couple more of these videos on the new Carti album on the way. So yeah, trying to be more consistent. Also been trying to work on my mic presence, so I hope this video is a bit more focused than the last one. And yeah, thank you for sticking around. If you like the content, drop a follow. And yeah, here's the full product. See ya. Also, if you have any feedback, drop in the comments. I've been steady trying to improve the channel. And yeah, peace.